Hey everyone, I'm Deepak Advani, General Manager for IBM Commerce, and I'm absolutely delighted to have with me Dhruv Agarwal, who's Executive Vice President of Gati. Dhruv, thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. I'm really excited to be part of this as well.
Yeah, we were actually just chatting before this, and turns out we have a lot in common. We both went to Big Ten schools in US. You went to Illinois. I went to Michigan State, so it's nice to share that in common.
Always good, yeah.
Yeah. So look, we're going to be announcing, there's going to be a press release that's going to go out tomorrow on a partnership that IBM is doing with Gati that I think has the potential to transform e-commerce and the way fulfillment is done. And that's why I'm thrilled to be having this quick conversation with Dhruv. So Dhruv, why don't you share with folks a little bit about what Gati does? Because I think in India it's a household name, but when you go outside of India, people may not know. So talk a little bit about what Gati really does.
So Gati was started back in '89, and it was the first door-to-door express cargo provider in India. It was the first company that said we deliver commercial packages, pick it up from your doorstep, deliver it to your doorstep, buy an assured delivery date, or you get your money back. So back then in '89, it was a very new concept, versus traditional transport, which was typically full truckloads, warehouse to warehouse kind of movement. And initially, actually, the first 2 years didn't go so well because it took a little time for the concept to catch on. But after that, of course, door to door is a need by everybody today in India. Especially with manufacturing booming in India, with the Make in India campaign coming up, the door-to-door and express cargo and supply chain services is going to be the backbone on which this, backbone on which the GDP will really move forward.
Absolutely, and you guys did a lot of innovation.
Yeah.
Cash on delivery, setting up an 800 number so people can find out about what's going on, money back guarantee if you can't deliver when you promised. Tell me a little bit about the culture of innovation that enabled you to do things that others hadn't done.
Gati as a group has always been very entrepreneurial, starting with Gati, the door-to-door service, and then saying that, if we don't deliver on time, you get your cash back. And even back then, we started offering this cash on delivery service. Today with e-com, probably 90% of everything that gets delivered is cash on delivery. But we started this back in, the early 90s, where we said, we deliver your packages, collect your cash, and send it back to you. We were also, one of the first companies that actually built our own ERP system for logistics in India. In fact, there's also an IIM case study on it, that says how the system was built. And I'm proud to say a lot of our competitors also tell us that we take a lot of ideas from your ERP and try to build systems the same way. We also the first people to start a commercial train service for commercial packages in India. Okay. Back when we had a shipping company, we were one of the first people to actually start a trade lane with Myanmar, to start a trade lane with Thailand, direct services out of India and back to India. So as a company, we've done a lot of innovation. As a company, we encourage our people to think outside the box, to be entrepreneurial. Now that program no longer exists, but we had a program where people could send us their business ideas, and we actually, if we found it viable, we actually tried to turn it into a business. One of the ideas that somebody had was, there was a big demand for, Ganga Jal, like holy water. So at some point, we had actually set up a little bottling plant, somewhere along the banks of the Ganga, and we were actually delivering and distributing holy water across the country. So these are some of the...
That idea came from one of the people.
That idea came from one of our people. So as a company, we're very entrepreneurial. We encourage new ideas. We back up a good idea if it's there. We don't mind taking that risk.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, that's the whole... In fact, one of the things that in IBM Commerce, in the unit that we have, we're starting something called Shark Tank. So we want to encourage people to bring forward with some ideas, and we're going to place some bets, and not all will work out, but at least you innovate. So talk a little bit about, so you decided to pick IBM. You looked at other competitors. Based on some of the challenges that you foresee in the business, what made you want to partner with IBM?
We're partnering with IBM, specifically to cater to the e-commerce or the e-tailing space in India. The e-tailing space in India, I'm sure it's a story all over the world, that it's grown exponentially over the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah. The biggest challenge we face today is that the demand for logistics services far outstrips the supply. If you look at it, the e-tailing or the e-marketplace players, they all kind of sit in the virtual world, sort of, so to speak. With the websites, the technology, the people buying online. But of course, they rely very heavily on logistics partners like us that exist in the physical space. Warehouse space, last mile delivery capability, vehicles, people, systems, etc. So it's a bit of a challenge to kind of keep pace, with the growth in the virtual world and develop infrastructure, people, processes, etc., physically on the ground. So that's one of the biggest challenges we have today. Besides that, today our customers are also kind of new to this area. E-com is like maybe 5-6 years old in India. So, there's a challenge from our customer side as well in terms of they're also trying to do many things. Plans change a lot very often. Sometimes, we decide that, okay, we want to open up new operating units, in East India. But somewhere down the line, that plan quickly changes because there's a need in some other part of India, or there's a need for some other kind of service. So the big challenge is to invest, but to be agile at the same time, so we can change with our customers' mindsets and try and help achieve their goals.
So you think partnering with IBM would enable you?
Yeah, definitely. One of the key requirements when we started looking for a system was one that, of course, it could handle the complexity of a fulfillment center where you have thousands of SKUs, which could handle a multi-tenant system, so servicing multiple customers out of the same warehouse and housing multiple vendors selling to different customers, which was something we didn't find readily available in India. The other thing was, of course, scalability. Just to give you an example, 1 year back in our last mile delivery, we were doing maybe about 10,000 orders a day, Gati as a company. Today our capacity is about 35,000 orders a day.
Wow.
And by the end of this year, financial year, probably it will be somewhere close to 80 to 90,000 orders a day.
Wow.
Delivery capacity. So, the pace at which it is growing required a system that would be very scalable, that could handle the complexity, because in India, the e-com mantra is very simple. How soon can you deliver something after a customer has ordered it online, while maintaining the customer experience? So you've got to have speed, you've got to have scalability, and you've got to maintain your service. Yeah. You have to maintain the quality of service. Yeah. So these were some of the key criteria that we were looking at.
Excellent.
While we were evaluating a WMS software.
So there's one other interesting question that I want to ask you. What's unique about India that's driving so much growth in commerce?
You see, in India versus the West, I think India is going to kind of not go through the same cycle the retail in the West went through. In India today, e-com or e-tailing is primarily driven and sold on mobile phones. If you talk to some of the large e-marketplaces, etc., they say we're a mobile commerce company. We're not an e-commerce company. So what's happened in India is that though retail exists, it started off in the metros, has been going across India to the tier 2, tier 3 towns. But thanks to e-com or mobile commerce, now people in the faraway places in India also have access to the same products, brands, etc., that they didn't have access to. And even with us, with our volumes, even with our customers, their volumes, we're seeing that a greater part of their volumes are coming from these tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 towns, which is why e-commerce in India is just starting off. We're 1.2 billion people. I think e-com only contributes to something like 3% of all retail sales in India. And moving forward, thanks to mobile technology, the exponential growth is going to be further fueled thanks to smartphones and smartphones available to everybody across the country.
Yeah. And we're still in the early innings of this.
We're still in the early innings. I don't think, I think personally in India, you won't see, you don't have the need to put up places like, like a Staples or a Circuit City, because besides apparel, there's no real need to, have a look and feel of some of these other products. So I think, plus, real estate in India is quite expensive. And thanks to e-com and mobile commerce, I think, we're going to see still a much, much bigger growth that will come for some time to come. It's not going to be, a blip in the market.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So in summary, right? So let me just summarize what we're talking about here. This market is ready to explode. I mean, one of the studies we did last year showed that 47% of the companies we talked to in India, their number one priority, even more than understanding their customers, was having a reliable fulfillment and supply chain in place, because they need to deliver on the promises they keep their clients. And when you look at innovators like Gati picking IBM to address that issue, that's a strong vote of confidence. So for those of you in sales, I want you to lead with a lot of confidence and a little bit of bravado, because we've got the capability that really scales. And we try to keep pushing the scalability capabilities. And, recent benchmark, over 3 million inventory pulls within 3 hours, and we're going to keep scaling it. So, I think it's a very exciting time. I really thank Dhruv for his vote of confidence and taking the time to talk to us. I think this is going to be a market opportunity that's really going to take off. So thank you very much for your time, and thanks again, Dhruv.
Thanks a lot, Deepak.